Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing out there? I hope y'all are doing fine. Had a good long day today. I see this little light is right shining on my glasses. I wonder what we can do about it. That would be decent. Let's see if we can make this work. Still shining on my glasses. Let's see what we can do with this light, y'all. All right, that'll work. It's so dark in here. I guess I need some more lights. There we go. It's a little on the bright side to me, but hello, people. I see two people out there. Y'all might be wondering why I didn't schedule this ahead of time. It's because the last time I did a scheduled one, I didn't seem to get as much traffic on it. So might just start doing these unscheduled. So it's kind of a little bit of an experiment that I have going here. We're going to see how it turns out. I might start using that StreamYard too. When you do that StreamYard, you can have other people come in on the screen with you. And I think that would be really interesting. I would like to have somebody else on the screen with me, but I have to look into it and see how it works and set it up. I think I had did that with another person on their live. They had set up a StreamYard. I think that's what it's called. And if you have a camera, you can go on with them. Let me see if I can set up I'm looking for my microphone jack. Sometimes it's easier to hear and everything with that microphone thing. Let's see, y'all. If I can get it hooked up. Okay, that's better. We'll see how that goes. So I think y'all can hear me better like this. Anyway, what I was saying is I think I would like to use the StreamYard to do some live streaming. And that way I can have someone else come on and share the screen with me. I think that would be really neat. So anyway, that's what I'm looking to do. I had a very long day today. Started out in the garden, and I've been removing these tomato cages and being careful, trying to not get stung by the wasp because there's a lot of wasp in my garden this year. Little yellow jackets. They're about that long, and they pack a pretty good sting. I've been stung a few times in there this year, and the first time wasn't too bad. The second time wasn't too bad either, really. But today, when I got stung, it really hurt. But I got stung right here on this knuckle. And I didn't put anything on it right away. When I came in, I looked in my essential oil book to see like what to put on it. And one of the things was basil oil. So I put that, and I put it right here where I was stung. And this area went down and didn't swell, but then all this part here swelled up, which has gone down a lot. It's almost all the way down now. But those darn little wasps, they bad this year. I got my hot shot out and went out there and sprayed those nests. I found a red wasp one that I sprayed and another yellow jacket nest and the one from the ones that I got stung in. So it's a slow process because I have to go so slow. I can't just go in there and rip everything out because no telling what kind of wasp nests I'll get stirred up in there. I really have to be paying close attention. And I thought I was today, but evidently I wasn't because when it's like some round cages and the tomatoes all coming out of them every which way. And I went in there with some clippers and I was like trimming the sides of them, just like trying to make the process go a little bit better. So I trimmed all around them and I was pulling, because it was morning glory vines and all this kind of stuff, tying everything down. And before I knew it, I felt something on the back of my hand. And then I looked down and I could see, and they was all flying around there. It was a kind of big nest. It was about that big around. Kind of big nest for yellow jackets, really. It probably had a good 20, 30 yellow jackets on it. I'm seeing here that there's going to be an ad playing. Hopefully the ad won't be too long for y'all. Been reading some good books lately. One of them was really funny. It was about relationships and how men and women are so different. And I don't know, it just had some really comical stuff in it. I guess some of it was serious, but some of it was kind of comical as well. Hello, Guap Gutter, excuse me. How you doing today? Those ground hornets is worst, says Portel Alexander Sr. Yeah, I hadn't come across any of those this year, thank goodness. I know that I've seen those before. The old house my mom and dad used to live in, they had some pampas grass. And I don't know if y'all know what that is. It's just a big grass bush. It's decorative and it makes these big fuzzy white. It's not really a flower, but anyway, the hornets had got in that bush. And when my dad had found it, I guess he was mowing and he came across it. But it looked so weird. It was like this swirling thing that went way deep down. All that pampas grass was swirling, like it had made a funnel or a tunnel, like where they had went down into the ground in that thing. It was the biggest ordeal. We ended up having to get rid of those pampas grass bushes, and they poured something down in that hole to get rid of them. Bumblebees do that too. They'll get in the ground, and a lot of people will be shredding and come across that, bush hogging. Y'all may be more familiar with that term. Be out there on a tractor bush hogging, and those bush hogs, they make a lot of noise going across that ground, and it'll disturb ground hornets or bumblebees or anything like that. And if the person who's on the tractor doesn't have a closed cab, they can get stung really bad. It can be a bad thing. I know that had happened to my dad one year, and I remember he was all swole up. The bumblebees got him, and he had to leave the tractor and the shredder. I keep calling it a shredder. Y'all might call it a bush hog, out there in the pasture, because they was all over him. He had a lot of stings. He was pretty swollen. I remember he had to stay in the bedroom in the air condition for a while before that cleared up. It was really bad. Good afternoon, Jada. How are you this afternoon? Jada says, good afternoon. That's my daughter-in-law. She's very sweet. Sweet girl. She's a good mama, too. Yes, she is. We got another person on. Butt Nuggets Homestead says, howdy. Well, howdy. I haven't seen you in a couple of lives. I did a scheduled live last time I did it, and I didn't have nearly as many people drop by. So I said, well, maybe it has something to do with the algorithms, and I'll just start doing them unscheduled to experiment with it and see how that goes. Those algorithms, I don't know who can figure them out. I guess you have to experiment a little bit. Jada says she's good. How are y'all? Well, I'm glad you're good. We're pretty good too. We had a long day. I got stung in the garden again today by another yellow jacket. And Mr. E worked on the chicken pen today. He rewalled it. It had some a hole in the roof, and he had put some kind of different kind of, it's not tin, it was like a plastic roofing, but it was corrugated. And that stuff didn't last long at all. It really was not a good building material. So he hadn't even planned to work on that today. But you know how sometimes you doing something and something will catch your eye and you'd be like, oh, today's the day I'm going to tackle that. I think that's what happened with him. And he had even went down to y'all's house and got some building supplies too. But he did ask Josh about it first. I heard him on the phone with him. It looks a lot better, the chicken pen, and it's going to last a lot longer from what he did to it. But he got overheated out there today, and he's got tunnel vision. When he's working on something, he's not thinking about anything else. He's just thinking about finishing, the end result. And I had made us a breakfast, I guess around 9 or 10 o'clock. It was some fried eggs and sausage and some hash browns and toast. I used some of that bread y'all brought me. And, so we had 8, and we both felt good, and we was doing a lot of work, more than usual. I guess we didn't run out of energy very quickly because we had eaten something good. And he stayed out there, and when he came back in, I knew he had stayed out there too long in that heat, and he was in the direct sun. And it was very hot today. It was like a heat index of 107 or something like that. And it was at the hottest part of the day, and there was no shade there. Have something flashing in here. What's going on? Okay, yeah, I have a light bulb. I need to tend just a second. Sorry about that. Hope I didn't flash no one. Okay, Chest, why are you noting where I am from? Last time I saw you, LOL. Why are you noting where am I from? Arkansas, I think. I don't know if I passed the test or not. Drink more water. We've been bad about that ourselves. Uh-huh. I know. He came in and he was like, ooh. he said he had got dizzy out there. Hey, Puddin' Tang, how you doing? Yeah, somebody had commented, why is she writing that down? And you see, I didn't take no more notes after that. It's like, oh Lord, and freak somebody out. But anyhow, I had bought some of those liquid IVs because my son, he drinks those. And I don't know, we just always drink coconut water or water ourselves to stay hydrated. But he drinks those liquid IVs. And he'd been after us to get some. And finally I got some like last week. And I had those on the shelf. And when Mr. E came in, he was like, fix me one of those liquid IVs quick. So I was like, okay, well, I got to read on it. I never even fixed one of these before. He said, well, I fixed one before. Just get a quart and a quart of water and mix it in that and put some ice in it for me. But he scared me because he said he had got dizzy out there and he even had a headache. And, you know, thank goodness I didn't have the air conditioner on full blast in here because that probably would have finished him off. But he came on in and he sat in the living room. I turned the fan on and I fixed him one of those liquid IVs and he sat there and he drank it slowly, moderately slowly. And he got better and he said, what should I take for this headache? And I said, you know what, maybe don't take nothing for the headache right now. I said, because I think it's that headache's just from you getting overheated. Just wait a little while. And I think that headache's going to ease up on its own instead of giving your body something extra to do by processing some kind of Tylenol or ibuprofen or whatever. And he didn't take anything. And a little while later, you know, drinking that stuff and with it not being too cold in the house and just him relaxing, and his headache went away without having to take anything. His temperature started to normalize. Yeah, someone had commented, why is she writing everything down? I'd made somebody nervous. Because she wants to know her audience, he said. And I remember you saying that. That was a nice thing to say. Mr. E got overheated today. We put Puddin' Tang says, Mr. E got overheated today, question mark. We put Celtic salt in our water, just a tiny bit of salt. The Celtic salt has the minerals. Okay, I'll have to look into that. I have some Himalayan salt. I don't know, you know, if that's similar. I know that the Himalayan pink salt does have minerals in it, but I hadn't used that. Like I said, we usually do the coconut water, which I found the coconut water at, I usually buy it at Walmart in like a quart, and it's like a blue quart, and I think. But also you can get it comes like in a can if you can find it at the Dollar Tree or at the Family Dollar. And they also make one at the Family Dollar or the Dollar Tree that has pineapple in it also. And I just wanted to try it, and I had got one and it was good, y'all. I really like the pineapple in it. And it's not it's a clear drink and it's not sweet like pineapple juice is. So don't think of it as something sweet like pineapple juice. It's clear and it's got a little bit of a pineapple flavor to it. It's so good, but it's coconut water. Smart, but Nugget says. Celtic salt. Sounds good. It does sound good, huh? It does sound good. Y'all got a big garden and a bunch of animals, Puddin' Tang said, and both of y'all work so hard. Yeah, and I got stung in the garden today by a yellow jacket. Again, this would be my third sting this year. But Nuggets Homestead said, I'll just lick the goat salt lick, LOL. Huh. I don't know about that. Maybe if the goats hadn't licked it yet. They do have a mineral lick out there. It's got minerals in it too. It probably would work good. Sometimes I think the animals' medicine is better than ours. They stay pretty healthy, but of course they don't eat all that junk that we eat either. And grow a coconut tree. I wish I could grow a coconut tree. That would be awesome. I don't know anybody who has coconut trees around here. I don't know anybody. I have not seen anybody grow a coconut tree around here. I think I've only seen that grown, like on close to the ocean. Anybody know about growing coconut trees anywhere else? I know I sure don't. But Nuggets Homestead says trying to switch slowing to less and less store-bought food is impossible, really, but I know us too. It is hard, y'all. It's so hard. I think it's so hard because we have access to it. If we didn't have access to that store, we would find a way to do something different. Puddin' Tang says, me too. I have never seen a coconut tree in the Philippines. And But Nugget says, I'm an hour and 20 from any big stores here. You really are far out. Puddin' Tang says, the only time I saw a coconut tree grow was in the Philippines. Oh, okay. I got you. Puddin' Tang says, I can't type. That's okay. You just make your little corrections or we'll figure it out. We pretty forgiving around here. I'll grow a cartoon coconut tree, LOL. Well, you're not going to be able to eat off of it. Ain't that the purpose? I've seen some people grow some pineapples around here, though. I have seen that. People buy. Jada has done that. I don't know if she's still with us, but she has cut the top of a pineapple off and put it into the dirt, and it'll grow a pineapple. And she said her mom's done that. And I also have another neighbor that does that. She puts them in these big pots, and they have like coaster wheels on the bottom of them, or caster wheels, whatever you call it. And she leaves the plants out during the summertime, and then in the wintertime, she wheels them into her garage. And she's been growing pineapples like that for years. Okay, Puddin' Tang says, I'm trying to grow bananas, and my trees are about 3 years old, and I have never had any bananas. Well, we've had some bananas on our trees here. We have. They grow some short little bananas, but you kind of caught me off guard. I don't remember what the name of that kind of banana is, but it grows some big old stalks, and the tree gets pretty tall. And some years it makes bananas and some years it doesn't. I think the the stalk does have to be a certain age before it'll make bananas. But we have made them here before. Now this year, there's not a banana on the tree. We didn't think they was even going to come back up, actually. We had a weird freeze last year, and it killed a lot of stuff around here. It killed some of our citrus, and it killed, we thought it had killed all the banana trees, but some of them managed to come back up. And Mr. E actually ordered us some new banana tree plants, and he's got those out in his other garden. Now, those look like they're doing pretty good, but none of them have bananas on them this year. Now, when the bananas did grow and we did get some off of them, they were a little different texture than the ones we would buy at the grocery store. The flavor was a little, I mean, it still had a banana flavor, but it was a little bit different. It actually had kind of like a strawberry flavor. I guess that don't make a whole lot of sense, but it did. It had like a strawberry flavor. There was some sweet and firm, hard little bananas. They was good. But Nuggets Homestead says we had an avocado tree sapling started from seed once. Ugh, he says. Is it still alive? Because I've tried to start one. I never could be successful with that. I knew one person who had grew one, but I don't think it ever made any avocados. Thing says sounds good. Yeah, because bananas and strawberries go good together. So was good. And my mother-in-law, Mr. E's mama, she doesn't live very far from us, and we actually got our start of banana trees from her because she's been growing them ever since I've known her. Now this year she was scared hers wasn't going to come back up too, but they did. They came back up, but I bet you she don't have no bananas either. It just wasn't a good year for it. But Nugget says, I like sweet potatoes, need to grow some, should be easy here. It should be easy there. It really should. The first time we ever grew sweet potatoes, we went and got some of the slips from a local grower, and we put them in the ground, and it was hot. It was in the summer, in the middle of the summer. And we was surprised at how easy they were to grow. Very easy to grow. That's what I mean. Where to get started, and it died in a house fire a couple years back now. We're good. Mm. You mean a house fire? Must have. But Nugget says I can't type either. Oh, well, it's okay. I'm not too worried. I can kind of figure it out. And sweet potato leaves are pretty, and they're also edible. I don't know if you knew that. And I have cooked them before. You can cook them, any kind of way, really. You can like fry them up or boil them, or I've boiled them before, kind of like you would do mustard greens, but it takes a lot of them. But you can eat them, and it makes a lot of them. Yes, house fire, he said. Mm. Sorry to hear that. What do they taste like? They have a very mild flavor. They really don't taste like a whole lot of anything. They have a little bit of a green flavor, kind of like, well, a mustard green has a kind of a strong flavor. So I wouldn't say it's like that. because it has a very mild flavor. Just season it up and it'll be good to eat. It's edible. So it would be a good survival food. You could eat the potato and the greens off of it. While the potato's growing, you could cut some of the greens off of it and you could have that to eat. Exactly. So that you get the root and the vine. That's exactly right. It's beets are like that too, but I mean beets aren't very easy to grow, and not for me. I've tried to grow beets and I just can't. We have a lot of clay around here, and I don't think that it can expand in that kind of dirt very good. I love putting sugar and cinnamon on sweet tater, says Butt Nuggets. Yeah, I do too. We usually they grow them around here locally, and we can usually buy a we call it a crate of sweet potatoes, but it's about as big as a milk crate is. And you can get a box of those every year and just bake them. That's what I would do. I will get them, clean them up, and spend a good cold day baking them. Bake all my sweet potatoes, and I'll save some bread bags and I'll put all my baked sweet potatoes in there and then freeze them. And then whenever I want sweet potatoes, I just go to the freezer and take me as many as I want out and thaw them out. And, usually we just peel them and slice them and put them in a black skillet with some butter and just kind of cook them a little while, let them kind of crisp up even a little. And that's a real good, easy way to eat them too. Similar to pumpkin, yeah, because you can make the pies too that you would do with pumpkin too. I mean, I know you can do other thing with pumpkin besides make pies with them, but sweet potato makes a real good pie. I wonder if they could just be canned, the sweet taters. Yeah, I have seen homesteaders do that. I haven't done it myself because they will keep, since we've been growing them ourselves, we hadn't been buying the crates of them like that. And we don't have a basement, here in Louisiana. I don't know of anybody who has a basement. It would be kind of hard because of the water in the ground and everything, the water levels and everything. It'd be hard to do a basement, but we just have a shed out in the back and we store them in there and they keep fine. I mean, you will lose some, but the majority of them will keep and they'll be fine. Now, last year we had trouble because, like I said, we had that cold freeze and it killed a lot of stuff. And it also got to my sweet potatoes in that shed. So we have to do something different on our storage this year to prevent that from happening. Cooked while canned, seasoned. Same here. Won't do shallow root cellar, maybe. Now, something we've tried is you can dig a hole. If you have a shed that has dirt in it, you can dig a hole in that shed, big enough to put not a 5-gallon barrel. Crazy. A big barrel, I think they're 50-gallon barrels. All of a sudden I'm drawing a blank, but I think it's a 50-gallon drum. Yeah. You can put that in the ground and it'll stay cold and it'll stay dry as long as you don't have any, water flooding coming in there. You can keep it. That's a pretty good way to do a little a little basement, if you want to call it that. Thank you, Butt Nuggets. 55-gallon drum. Yeah, great idea. Yeah, it is a great idea. Because we had that dilemma, we was like, man, we want to have us a basement to store some stuff in. That would be so nice. But there's no way we could have one here. So we started trying to come up with some kind of ideas, and that's what we come up with. We just get a 3-point hole digger. Yeah. Tang says they have some water issues over there in Florida too. I would imagine so. I would imagine it would be similar to the same problems that we would face here as far as a basement goes. I don't know anyone around here who has a basement. I guess they just maybe can't be doing. What about Florida? Anyone there have basements that you know of? I know they can have them farther up north. That's one nice thing about being further up north. You can have a basement. But Nugget says we're in Arkansas. I thought so. River Valley area, so pretty wet. No basement that I've ever seen, Pudding Tang says. Oh, trying to see. Okay, but Nugget says no basements in Florida. Live there quite a bit. Our nearby friends too have a basement though. So in Arkansas, is that what you're saying? They have some basements up there? Pudding Tang is in the panhandle of Florida. It's close to the water there then. Close to the ocean right there. But you can grow the sweet potatoes here, and you don't have to have a basement to keep them in. And we also grow the Irish potatoes. And when we first started growing them, we had to look into how do you grow them, because we just lost that information through time. But Nugget says to Pudding Tang that we had a house in the Bay County Panhandle for years. And Pudding Tang says we are getting the 4-second commercials tonight. I live on the bay and only 10 miles from the Gulf of Mexico. Yeah, well, I bet you worry about hurricanes too then. Nugget said we lived in Youngstown, Florida. Pudding Tang says Okaloosa County here. Niceville. Huh, that's a nice name for a town, Niceville. I used to manage the Pizza Inn at the start of the Miracle Mile, is what Butt Nuggets is saying when much younger. The Pizza Inn. I was saying when we started wanting to grow our own potatoes, we had always grown peppers and tomatoes and cucumbers and squash, but we had never grown potatoes before. And when we started doing that, we had to figure out how you did it. And then like with the potatoes, the Irish potatoes, you don't have to, but you should, I guess, to get the most out of your potatoes for the seed. You cut them up wherever they have an eye on them, and then that's your seed to plant. Now, for the sweet potatoes, you have to get the vine off of the potato. You don't plant the sweet potato, you plant the vine of it. If you plant just the potato of the sweet potato, you'll just get vines, no potatoes. You have to put those potatoes in the ground, get the vines growing, and then you break the vines off of them. And that's what you call your potato slips. And you plant those to make the sweet potatoes. Truman Show. But Nugs Homestead says, isn't that where they filmed that one movie, The Truman Show? Niceville? I don't know. Pudding Tang says, when I first moved here in the late 80s, it was nice. Uh-oh. But they want to be like every other place, and overdevelopment has taken over. Slips. Yes, that's what you call them, Butt Nugget. Slips. That's what we call them. The vines that you get off of the sweet potatoes. They are referred to as slips. And Butt Nugget says, do you just break off the vines or cut them out? We just break them off. But actually, if you have some very long vines, you can cut them and plant those different cuttings off of that vine. Puddin' Tang says Truman Show was somewhere in Destin. But Nugget says, I knew that. Puddin' Tang, LOL. Puddin' Tang says, I only grew potatoes in mounds. We grew them in rows and it worked for us. Thank goodness Mr. E's got a tractor, and that's a lot of help. Especially this ground here is clay and it's hard as a brick. But it's rich, there's a lot of nutrients in clay soil. Some areas of our land is more clay and more hard than other parts of it. It just depends. And then, of course, rainfall can make a big difference in how hard it is or easy it is to break into the ground as well. But Nugget says, I'd like to try putting them on cow panels, the sweet taters. It might work good. I tell you what, this year the weeds took our sweet potato patch. I don't know what we're going to get whenever we break that ground open this year. But I think there's something that you can spray to keep the weeds out of your sweet potatoes. But we don't know what it is. We have to look into it. And after this year, we probably will, because the weeds really did a number on them. I'm hoping there's some sweet potatoes under there. If not, we'll be buying one of them crates from somewhere if we can. They grow very good sweet potatoes around here. They grow the Beauregard. And I've seen a couple of other different varieties around here, but it's mostly the Beauregard. This year I grew ginger, turmeric. This is what Puddin' Tang's saying, y'all. I grew ginger, turmeric, roselle, green onions, tomatoes, peppers, but my peppers have never got as large as the ones I saw in Mr. E's video. It might just be a different variety, Pudding, you know. My peppers aren't doing very good right now. I think it's just so dry, you know. And then when I watered them, it looked like the plants didn't like that. I don't know what's going on. And I heard sometime if you don't water real deep, that's not good for the plant. Maybe I didn't water it deep enough. But Nugget says, I want to use a ton of tree line mulch for coverage. Tree line mulch. Back to nature, weed control. Yep. I did that last year. I did that for a couple of years, actually, where I would just gather up all the leaves. But unfortunately, a lot of them was oak leaves and had little oak acorns in them. And then I had little oak trees coming up in my garden, but they're easy to pull up if you catch them when they're short. The Jay and Nora Family Channel, good night. Good night, Jay and Nora Family Channel. Are you coming on or leaving us? More wood chips for water retention, says Butt Nuggets. Good point about the oak seeds, says Butt Nuggets. I mean, it was like I said, you can catch them and pull them out of there, and usually they'll just come right up very easily. You just have to stay on top of it. If you go in your garden often, you'll see them and just pull them out. It wasn't like it was that horrible. The thing that was the most horrible of when I was collecting leaves and bringing them into my garden was in the springtime, the slugs. I had so many snails. That was what the problem was. Okay, everybody's waving at each other, the Jay and Nora family and Puddin' Tang. So anyway, but you can kill snails pretty easily in your garden. You can set some little beer traps, like if you save the tops off of mayonnaise jars or something like that, or you can put a little beer into them, the snails will crawl right into them at night and drown in it. So you can get rid of a lot of snails like that. Just buy some cheap beer and, you know, put some little containers like that, like some little mayonnaise jar lids. That way it's big enough to catch several, but it's small enough to where you're not having to buy a gallon of beer just for that project. Time for ducks, I guess. One thing leads to another. Look, I do not want ducks anymore. I had ducks before and they make such a mess of their water trough. I don't know what they do. I think they eat dirt and then they rinse all that dirt out in the water trough, because I've never had an animal that will dirty up a water trough like a duck. And I know it's not because they just getting in it and swimming in it. It's something else they're doing to it. I want to use a light and shallow water pan to catch bugs for chickens. It might work. It may work. You can try it. If you try it and it works, let us know. Because I'm always looking for something extra to feed my chickens that I don't have to go out and buy feed. And Puddin' Tang says, I've been mulching everything and trying to make my own mulch. We have a small yard. I did that too. I mean, when I would see other people rake had raked up all their leaves in their yard and bagged them up and put them at the end of the road, I would actually stop and pick up their leaves and bring them to my garden. And it worked real good. Like I said, the only problem I had was the little sproutings and the slugs. Other than that, it did my garden a world of good. But I think that I think one reason that the snails came is because they help in the decomposition of those leaves. Been burning it too and do the biochar for my garden. Yeah, I've seen some other people do that too. I haven't tried it. Do you see a difference with that, or what do you see that's the benefit for that for you that you've been using it? What can you testify and say that it's done for you? But Nugget said, I seen a YouTube channel do the bug catcher. Apparently it does work. Bugs get attracted to the light in water, I guess. Huh. I'll have to look into that. I'm gonna make a char can, says Butt Nuggets. Do you use a can, Pudding Tang? Pudding Tang says, I only did the biochar this year, and the ash keeps the weeds down. Wow. That makes sense, because I've had burn piles in the past where you gather up limbs and whatnot and you burn them. And well, I guess maybe that's why I don't know. I never tried that. I did see someone else do the chore though, like what you're saying. They had basically had a barrel and they had made their own compost tea is what they called it. And they added that charred wood into it. And then they used that in their garden. And they said it was really good. Uh-huh. Look at this. But Nugget says we put our fire pit ashes in compost, but never directly in garden. Uh-huh. You see, I bet, like I was saying, I seen that other person do. They did a compost tea where they had water and then everything they would put all kind of different green stuff. If they cut weeds out of the garden, they'd put that in that water. If they had animals that the manure, they would put that in that water. And they also had burned some wood and they had the charcoal left over of some of it and they put that in there as well. And they were saying like the charcoal helps hold on to the nutrients. I want to make some. My husband, he has some out in his garden, but his garden is not real close to the house. Now I have a little garden. Y'all seen me do some of my lives in where I have just some house plants, I guess you would call them. Not nothing you could eat, maybe a couple of them. There's celery out there. But anyhow, I wanted to make some of that compost tea for that area, but it's close to the house. And I'm afraid that the mosquito larvae will get in there and I won't be able to take care of them. Now, I have some water troughs for the cows and the goats and horses, which I don't have horses here, but I have a couple acres over that my son and his wife have. And a lot of people around here will put goldfish in their is that you, Mr. E?
Yeah.
What you need?
Seeing if your stuff's even working because I can't get on the internet.
It is working. I'm not gonna be on here much longer though. I'll see some people on here I'm talking to. He didn't know if it was working or not. I guess he couldn't see it on the TV. We use an old washing machine drum to burn in, Pudding says, and we get them free off the side of the road, and the washing machine has the hose. Make sure you get a stainless washer. It's a pain to get the wash barrel. Oh, I bet. That sounds like a good idea, though. And I think I've seen that before. We had something similar to that at home. And I want to say it was the drum out of an industrial dryer. Some goldfish in there. Never mind. One thing leads to another. Yeah, well, that's what we did. We had put some goldfish in those watering tanks for the animals and everything. But you can't put them in those composting things because they won't live in the when you putting green stuff into water, it takes the oxygen out of the water, and so the fish can't live in it. Have to do something else. Have to come up with another idea. They last a long time, those old washing machine drums to burn in. I bet they do. It sounds like a good idea. But Nugget says we got ours as a remnant from house fire. Oh, was all that was left of washer. Oh my goodness. So not hard for us. Oh my goodness. That sounds rough. But you still have it? You still have it, huh? I do have some, hope you had insurance, says Pudding Tang. Yes, really. Mm, mm, mm. That's bad, y'all, when people don't have insurance. My father-in-law got in a wreck about a year ago, and the person who hit him didn't have insurance, and it's been rough. It's been bad. He was driving a tractor coming home, and when he turned, the vehicle was coming from behind and didn't see him and just ran into him. The tractor tumbled and he flew off the tractor, and a helicopter had to come and pick him up. He's still suffering from that, and there's no insurance or anything. Still have. The fire was bad, but we are long over it, says Butt Nuggets. That's good. No insurance. House insurance is like a mortgage payment here. Pudding Tang says insurance is expensive, but it's necessary. It looks like it's getting more and more expensive too. It's a lot of stuff that seems like it's out of our control, don't it? So anyway, y'all, I didn't schedule this live, and I'm probably going to be doing some more lives that aren't scheduled just because of the algorithms and how they pick up I don't know. I can't figure these algorithms out, but I'm probably going to continue to do them on Monday nights and Thursday nights, maybe without scheduling them. And I'm probably going to do some during the day too, because I like to do them whenever I'm preparing for one of my videos during the daytime. And it's hard to schedule those because when I'm cooking, sometimes I don't know, when I'm going to be starting to cook or whatever. So a lot of times I'll just pick up my camera and turn it on in the kitchen when I start preparing for a video. Like tomorrow, I want to do a lemon bar cheesecake, and I'll probably do a little live when I'm preparing for it, and then I'll probably turn it off and then make a video to post later about it. It's crazy expensive. But Nugget says, peace, I gotta go anyway. Nice to see you all. And Pudding Tang says, that's good. I hope to see you then. Yeah, I'm about to go too because it's been an hour. I don't want to hold y'all up. And like I said, I might do a little live tomorrow when I'm preparing for my video. And if not, I'll just see y'all on Thursday. Same place, same time. So y'all take care of each other. Thank y'all for coming in and having a little chat with me. And I look forward to speaking with y'all on the next time. Good evening and God bless, says Pudding Tang. I made burritos after y'all made them. Well, how'd your burritos turn out before I go? I know ours turned out good. We've been eating them pretty regular. They are so good. All right. Awesome. Good to hear. Well, you have a good night. And I hope that for all of y'all. Y'all be in my prayers. Have some new people to pray for. Y'all stay safe. Let's see if I can figure out how to turn this thing off, y'all. Okay, I see it. Love y'all. Bye now.